But when we're spiritually minded and God is there and He wants to give us something good, we know then we'll tend to ask, and the burden of our heart will be to ask for things that are spiritual and moral. Solomon answers back. He says, God, you showed faithful love to your servant, my father David, because he was honest and true and faithful to you. And you have continued your faithful love to him today by giving him a son to sit on his throne. Now, O Lord my God, you've made me king instead of my father David. But I'm like a little child who doesn't know his way around. Actually, he's an adult. But, like a child, metaphoric. And here I am in the midst of your own chosen people, a nation so great and numerous they cannot be counted. Give me an understanding heart so that I can govern your people well and know the difference between right and wrong. For who by himself is able to govern this great people of yours? And we read that the Lord was pleased that Solomon had asked for wisdom when he could have asked for any number of other things if he'd wanted to. And so we get this portrayal of Solomon at this point in his life here. Humble, in his words here, it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to be a king. This job is way over my head. He's not too concerned with himself. And in fact is zealous to serve God well and serve his people well, and that's what he asks God for. And so it's a very good, very positive picture that we see of Solomon at this stage in his life. And so God replied, because you have asked for wisdom in governing my people with justice, and have not asked for like a long life or wealth or the death of your enemies, I will give you what you asked for. I'll give you a wise and understanding heart such as no one else has had or ever will have. And I will also give you what you did not ask for, riches and honor. No other king in all the world will be compared to you for the rest of your life. And if you follow me and obey my decrees and my commands like your father David did, I'll give you a long life too. And so God is really being generous here. And so there follows a story to illustrate this new wisdom that God had graced him with. It's kind of a cool story. We read that sometimes later, two prostitutes came into the king to have an argument settled. Please, my lord, one of them began, this woman and I live in the same house. I gave birth to a baby while she was with me in the house. 3 days later, she had a baby also. We were alone. There were only two of us in the house, no witnesses. But her baby died during the night when she rolled over on it. They didn't have cribs. These are poor people. They have the baby right in the bed with them. Dangerous. She rolled over and must have suffocated the baby. Then she got up in the night and took my son from beside me while I was asleep and laid her dead child in my arms and took mine to sleep beside her. In the morning when I tried to nurse my son, he was dead. But then I looked more closely. In the morning light, I saw it wasn't my son at all. It was hers. The other woman interrupted. It certainly was your son. The living child is mine. No, the first woman said, the living child is mine and the dead one is yours. And so they argued back and forth before the king. Oh man, this is pretty bad. Not going to be easy, This was before DNA testing. It's not going to be easy to settle this. Nobody is watching. The children that young, they're only days old. Good Lord. Babies kind of look all alike at that stage. It's not going to be easy. How will he know what to do? And so he finally hears them argue, and all right, shut up. Now, let's get the facts straight. He says, both of you claim the living child is yours. Each of you says the dead one belongs to the other. All right, bring me a sword. A sword was brought to him, and he said, now, cut the living child in two and give half to one woman and half to the other. Suddenly the woman who was the real mother cried out and said, oh, no, my lord, give her the child. Please don't kill him. At the same time, the other woman was saying, all right, he'll be neither yours or mine. Let's divide him between us. And then the king said, don't kill the child. Give him to the woman who wants him to live. That's his mother. Discerned. It's the mother right there. No mother would say what that other woman said. When all Israel heard the king's decision, the people were in awe of the king, for they saw the wisdom that God had given him for rendering justice. And so, we also learn some other things about the wisdom of Solomon later in chapter 4:29. God says that it says God gave Solomon very great wisdom and understanding and knowledge as vast as the sands of the seashore. In fact, his wisdom exceeded that of all the wise men of the East and the wise men of Egypt, like these guys. He composed some 3,000 proverbs. We didn't get most of those. We got some of them. We got a book of his proverbs. A couple hundred, nothing like that. And he wrote over 1,000 songs. We didn't get many of those either. He could speak with authority about all kinds of plants, from the great cedar of Lebanon to the tiny hyssop that grows from cracks in a wall. He could also speak about animals, birds, small creatures, and fish. So, studied natural science, nature. Kings from every nation sent their ambassadors to listen to the wisdom of Solomon. We'll read a story about the Queen of Sheba coming up to hear him and how impressed she was. People were amazed at the wisdom that this guy had. And so he became one of the great ones during that period of history. That's as far as we're going to read tonight. We made it through 3 chapters. It's pretty good. Solomon, by now, has been selected by God to continue David's dynasty, so he is playing a crucial strategic role in the plan of God for the human race. This Davidic covenant is a pretty big deal, and so he's going to carry the ball down the field to the next level. God's given him everything he needs to do a good job. He's got the right attitude. He's got wisdom. And it looks like things are going to go great for Solomon. And the big question before us is, what is he going to do with all of this opportunity? All of this blessing that he's been given by God? Well, if you've read ahead in your Bible, the story turns kind of sad. And he kind of loses it, like a lot of people do. Boy, you just can't believe it sometimes. God can be so generous and give us such awesome opportunities and gifts and blessings, and we just totally take it for granted and are not loyal to God. And the next thing you know, something comes up and we're off. Our attitude starts to deteriorate, and one thing can lead to another. I'll tell you, I've seen this even, we see it still today. There's some of the people that came up with me, when I was your guys' age. I'm so excited about God, met him personally. Oh man, I'm certain they were authentic, knew God, had that spirit in their lives, became gifted, powerful workers for the Lord, and were used greatly of God, are not even walking with him anymore. And it's mystifying. Something happened in their life later where they jumped the tracks and went south. It still happens today. And this definitely happened with Solomon. So we should really try to analyze why did this happen? And where did it go wrong? Well, that's for next week. So you're going to have to hang in here with us if you're going to get the sense of these stories, because they're sizable.